as the rate of the population increases in a particular country, the need for food, the need for space also increases. What is mining? Mining is nothing but extraction of minerals and metals from the earth's crust, right? So mining, when I say ecology, means ecology is nothing but the plant and the animal life that are there in this planet. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to today's session on Environmental Studies for second semester B.C.A. I'm Dr. Divya, Environmental Studies faculty, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So in today's session, let us again continue with studying Unit 3, that is Natural Resources, Renewable and Non-Renewable Resources. In today's session, let us learn about deforestation. What are the causes and impacts of deforestation? So to begin with, let us see what is the definition of deforestation. So deforestation is nothing but the clearing or thinning of forest by humans. So we human beings have intervened with the forest on a large scale to that extent that for our greed we have been clearing the forest. So that particular clearing of forest wherein cutting of trees are involved to make the land barren, that is nothing but deforestation. So moving further, what are the causes for deforestation? Of course, deforestation can occur because of some of the natural calamities. Say for example, there is a huge flood wherein the water is gushing down a hill that can uproot the trees, or there is a cyclone, or there is heavy rush of wind that can also uproot the trees and cause deforestation or loss of forest in a particular area, whichever is affected by the natural calamity. But usually deforestation is caused mainly because of anthropogenic activities, that is the human activities such as agriculture, commercial logging, cash crop economy because of mining, population increase, urbanization and industrialization because of construction of dams and various water reservoirs, and because of forest fires, because of human encroachment and exploitation, and also because of acid rain. So these causes, let us study one by one. So first, talking about agriculture as a cause of deforestation. The best example that I can take of is Amazon rainforest. It is said that Amazon rainforest is the lungs of the earth. Why? Because most of the oxygen that is created on the planet comes from Amazon rainforest, and that rainforest is so dense and filled with trees, and it is also quite very vast. But the area of the Amazon forest nowadays is depleting, or it is getting reduced mainly because of human activities, especially for agriculture. So they have started clearing the forest or cutting down trees for agricultural purposes. Next is for commercial logging. So we have various industries such as the paper industries, the furniture industries and whatnot, right, which makes use of the trees. So these trees are grown separately on lands and they are logged or they are cut for commercial purposes. Or say for example, we have the sandalwood, right? Sandalwood is one very expensive product that is got from the sandalwood tree, which can be used for various cosmetics, perfume industries and production of incense sticks and whatnot, right? Various articrafts, handicrafts and all that. So commercial logging or the cutting of such trees will take place on a large scale and nobody bothers to replace it. So that also leads to, or it is one of the major causes of deforestation. Next is cash crop economy. So here under cash crop economy, the forests are cleared in order to cultivate cash crops which can fetch good income to the farmer. So therefore, because of the greed of income by the farmers, a lot of forest lands are being converted into agricultural lands for cash crop economy. Next is because of mining. So I don't know whether you might have noticed, there are some areas, say for example Kudremukh. So Kudremukh is one such area in Karnataka of India wherein iron mining was very much done there. And if you travel towards Kudremukh, you can find the hills which were once abundant with trees, they have become barren now. There are no trees at all found, and you can see the naked hills there without the trees. So that is one of the reason why mining, for mining purpose, the trees are cut. For gold mining also, there are various places where gold mining is done. For that purpose also, they are clearing the lands of trees so that mining can be done and the economy of the country can be improved. So therefore, mining is also one of the major causes for deforestation. Next is population increase. As the rate of the population increases in a particular country, the need for food, the need for space also increases. So therefore, need for space means need for space to build houses, to build transportation facilities, to build industries, and also in order to fulfill the demands of food for the people, the need for agricultural lands, everything increases. Therefore, increase in population also leads to clearing of the forest or deforestation. Next is for urbanization and industrialization. Of course, population increase will lead to urbanization, and that is the development of towns, cities and all that, and also it lead to the development of a lot of industries. For that we need lands, and where do we go for lands? We just cut down the trees and convert those lands into urban and industrial sectors. So for this is also one of the cause for deforestation. Next, to construct dams and reservoirs. There are a lot of conflict going over water, right? So in order to save water, what happens? A lot of dams and reservoirs are built across the rivers. So when we build dams and reservoirs, what they do is, these dams and reservoirs also causes deforestation because it would flood the neighboring areas, causing problem to the plant life that is growing there. And not just that, though there are some, if there are some commercial trees available there, prior itself will be cut and utilized, because anyway the area is going to flood because of the dam and the reservoir construction. So therefore, construction of dams and reservoirs is also one of the causes for deforestation. Next is forest fire. So forest fire can be because of natural process. So how natural forest fire occurs is, during the summers the wood of the trees are very dry. So when they rub against each other, sparks are created, and that one spark is enough to put the forest under fire. Similarly, human activities, say for example, somebody is walking in a forest or near a woodland or somewhere during the summer season wherein the environment is very dry. One small cigar or a matchstick, if you just lit a matchstick, and that matchstick, if you just by mistake, if you just throws it also, one little spark is enough to put the entire forest into fire. So that is how forest fires can also lead to deforestation or clearing of the forest. Human encroachment and exploitation, again that also comes under population increase itself, because as and when the number of people in a country increases, the need for space increases. Therefore, human being will start encroaching the forest. Especially encroachment is seen in order for recreational purposes, and also encroachment is done for agricultural purposes. These are the two main reasons why usually encroachment of forest area. So those villages and all which are living in the forest belt, they'll just illegally what they do is they'll clear the forest and they'll expand their agricultural land. So that is human encroachment, and they'll start to exploit the forest for timber, for various plant resources. They will start to exploit the forest. Next is because of acid rain. So acid rain is mainly caused by pollution. So pollution increases the sulfur oxide content. That sulfur oxide content which mixes with the water comes down in the form of acid rain, and acid rain can destroy the forest or the trees and the plants, therefore leading to deforestation. So acid rain is also one of the causes for deforestation. So these are the different causes of deforestation. So this can be asked in the exam for 4 marks or 10 marks. Depending on the marks, you need to write the side headings and you can write 1 or 2 points, a small explanation under each of these headings. It will fetch you 4 or 10 marks depending on the weightage given to that particular question. Next, moving on to what are the impacts due to mining on environment. So we studied the causes of deforestation, and under that we learned that mining is one of the major causes for deforestation, because for mining we'll have to clear the land, trees and plants, right? So that is why. So because in your environmental studies syllabus, they have particularly mentioned about mining and what are the impacts of mining on the environment, I have chosen this particular topic as such. So impacts due to mining on the environment. So what is mining? Mining is nothing but extraction of minerals and metals from the earth's crust, right? So for that, it creates a lot of imbalance in the environment. So what are those? Let's look into. So what is the impact of mining on air? So when I say environment, the environment is nothing but made up of, we had studied in the first unit, wherein we have the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, the atmosphere and all that, right? So talking about the impact of mining on the atmosphere or on the air. So mining actually destroys vegetation, and also it destroys the soil because of clearing lands for mining, and this results in the accumulation or the release of carbon dioxide and therefore other greenhouse gases. So here, when, as I told you, if we need to mine a particular area, we need to destroy the plant species in that particular area, because at the end of the day we need to extract the minerals from the soil or the earth's crust itself, right? So that is the reason. So therefore, mining will destroy the vegetation, and on the other hand, mining will it will lose the quality of the soil. It will have a great impact on the quality of the soil, because the clearing of lands for mining will cause soil erosion and all that. That is the reason, and therefore soil erosion means the top layer of the soil, which is very fertile, that will be lost, and therefore the soil can become useless for the growth of any plants. So that is how mining can destroy the vegetation and the soil. And if vegetation gets destroyed, meaning if plants gets destroyed, what about the carbon dioxide? The carbon dioxide that is released because of industries, vehicles and all that, that gets accumulated in the atmosphere, that will be utilized by the plants, right? So if plants itself is not there in that particular area because of mining reason, here carbon dioxide will start to accumulate in the atmosphere, and carbon dioxide is also one of the important greenhouse gases which causes the heating of the earth's surface and therefore causing a lot of ecosystem imbalance. So here we have taken an example of carbon dioxide accumulation. Say for example, there is a mine which is mining, that is a diamond mine. So mining a kilogram of diamond produces 8 lakh kg of carbon dioxide. So imagine 8 lakh kg of carbon dioxide is released to the atmosphere, and that doesn't get utilized by the plants and it remains in the atmosphere. How much problem it can pose to the air, right? So compared to a kilogram of highly abundant minerals such as iron, which produces only about 2 kg carbon dioxide. Again, when I'm talking about mining here, I told you mining destroys the plants, therefore it causes the accumulation of carbon dioxide. Say for example, here they have said that during the process of mining also, a lot of carbon dioxide is released out. So it depends on what type of mining is done there. Say for example, if we mine 1 kg of diamond, about 8 lakh kg of carbon dioxide is released to the atmosphere, and for iron it is just 2 kg of carbon dioxide. But whatever it is, carbon dioxide will get released to the atmosphere. There won't be any plants to make use of the carbon dioxide. Therefore, the carbon dioxide accumulation will occur in the atmosphere, leading to lot of problem to the ecosystem or the environment. And not just that, the surface mining releases a lot of dust. So during surface mining, a lot of large equipments and all that drillers and all that are used. So during that time a lot of dust is released which increases the particulate matter in the atmosphere. And these smelters which are there, so smelters release heavy metals. So smelters, they are the ones that release a lot of smoke. In that smoke a lot of heavy metals such as sulfur dioxide and various other pollutants will be there, which will enter into the air and it will destroy the quality of the air. And mining also leads to pollution, because during mining process a lot of firing coals and all that are used during the process of mining. So pollution from mine fires and fires in waste dump include those left burning in post mining period. So all these, after the mining, whatever wastes are dumped, all that will be lit, because to destroy those dump it will be lit or a fire will be set on it. So that fire causes a lot of pollution of the atmosphere or the air as well. So these are the impacts of mining on the quality of the air. Next is impacts of mining on water, that is the hydrosphere. So mining sectors, they make use of large quantities of water for dust mitigation. So I told you surface mining releases a lot of dust. So you might have noticed some people, they actually throw water in front of their homes. Why? Because that water will help the dust to settle down, so that the dust will not rise up and come into their houses, right? Same way here also what they do is, during mining, that is a lot of drilling and all that is involved, a lot of dust is released. So to settle the dust, what they do is they use water for that. So mining sectors, they use lot of water for dust mitigation, and they also use lot of water to remove the soluble particles. You might have watched in Discovery Channel, there is a program called as Gold Rush. So if you have not yet watched, you can watch those channels, because what I believe is environmental studies, if you just have basic knowledge of all these, watching these channels, you can write the answers on your own. So that is why. So in Gold Rush also, that particular program you might have seen where mining of gold is done. So during that time a lot of forest clearing will take place, and not just that, they use a lot of water in order to separate the gold particles from the impurities that are there. So that is how mining, in order to remove the soluble particles, for sieving and for the separation of the minerals, a lot of water is utilized. But in some steps the water is recycled and again used back, but still it poses a threat to the environment. So high water usage can lead to reduced access for local people. So what happens here is, this particular water usage can reduce the accessibility of pure drinking water to the locals who are present around that mine site or nearby villages around that mine site. And not just that, mining also contaminates the water to such an extent that the people might not be able to use that water for the domestic purposes. So that is why there will be shortage of the supply of uncontaminated water, that is water, fresh water which is not contaminated, and therefore it can result in local area, that is the people in that particular area, suffering from the lack of water or the water stress. Not just that, it also poses a threat to the underground water table as well. So these are the impacts of mining on water or the hydrosphere. So moving further, apart from this, mining, they also add sulfur containing minerals to air. So this sulfur containing, or the sulfur that enters into the air, it will oxidize, that is it will combine with water. So sulfur will combine with water to form sulfuric acid. So this sulfuric acid can come down in the form of acid rain and therefore create a lot of problem to the underground water table as well as the fresh flowing water that is there. So here, and next, removal of water bodies from the area for quarrying and dumping. So during the process of mining, in order to dump the waste and in order to quarry quarry. So what is quarry? Drilling of rocks, right? So in order to extract the minerals. So for all that purpose, what they do is they completely eradicate the water bodies in that particular area. For extraction of gold also, if you look, what they do is they make use of a lot of river water. So gold is extracted from rivers and all that, right? So the water, it gets utilized and it cannot be reused back. And also mining can disrupt the drainage pattern, because a lot of drilling and all that is involved in mining. What happens? It may result in a little bit of landslide in that particular area and all that. Therefore, the flow of the river can be changed, the drainage pattern of water will get disrupted, it can change, all that will occur. So these are the impacts of mining on water. Next, we'll learn about impacts of mining on the land. So various mining projects, it can lead to land use change. What is land use change? In the previous session, you have already studied. If not, just have a look at the previous video of this particular unit. So it causes land use change because a lot of drilling and excavation of open pit mines is involved, and also as a result of the development of surrounding infrastructure. So if there is mining, particular mining project, if it is there, for a few years people should settle in that particular area. So they'll start building a small infrastructure around that area. Therefore, the land will get altered. It will result in land use change. Not just that, during mining a lot of drilling is involved that will loosen the soil. It will lead to soil erosion, and that soil erosion is nothing but land use change itself. So therefore, mining projects causes a lot of land use change. And also it causes land use change because of deforestation, that is cutting of trees is involved to clear that particular mining site. So that is also one of the reason. And therefore, cutting of trees, the usage of heavy machinery and all that, it can cause soil erosion, and also it can later degrade or it can deteriorate the quality of the soil, leading to soil degradation. And not just that, a lot of polluted materials is discharged into the water, therefore affecting the quality of the topsoil. So a lot of pollutants are also discharged not just to the water bodies, but also when it is discharged on the soil, it creates a lot of problem. It alters the biome of that particular soil and also hinders or it hampers the quality of the topsoil, because topsoil is very, very important, because that is the portion that is quite fertile and necessary for the growth of the plant. So therefore, the quality of the topsoil can also get impacted. So this is how the mining can impact on land. Next, the impact of mining on noise pollution. That is, mining can cause a lot of noise pollution, because in the quarrying centers and all that, they use dynamites, and the dynamites, they produce huge noises which can even tremble the nearby areas and cause loosening of the soil of the nearby areas also. Apart from that, it creates a lot of noise which is not good for the elderly people, especially, or the younger children. So machinery that are installed in the mining shafts or inclines or in the compressor houses and workshop, it generates a lot of noise. So for mining, a lot of large equipments are used which creates or which generates a lot of noise, which is not good for the people working in the mine, nor it is good for the other people that are settled around the mines. And these heavy machinery operations, it can lead to an increase in the noise levels in the nearby residential areas or the villages also, where the habitat of the people is. So therefore, mining can also cause a lot of noise pollution. Next is the impact of mining on ecology. So mining, when I say ecology, means ecology is nothing but the plant and the animal life that are there in this planet, right? So the mining actually disturbs the wildlife, and also it disturbs the fauna, that is the animal life, as well as the plant life, that is the flora. So it causes a lot of problems on the fauna, that is the wildlife, and the flora, that is the vegetation, or that is the plant life. Why? Because of clearing of forest and vegetation land in order to proceed with the mining procedures. And the noise and vibrations that are created due to various blasting operations, usage of dynamites and all that, and because of machine operations, they will actually, in nearby forest area, whatever animals and birds are there, they will vacate that particular region. So if they vacate the region, the food chain will get affected, and if the food chain gets affected, the entire ecosystem will become imbalanced. So that is how noise and vibration from the mines can have an impact on the ecology. And not just that, mining can slow down or it can retard the growth of the plant or the vegetation because of the less amounts of water that is available. So mining uses a large amount of water, and not just that, the various pollutants that are given out during the mining process, it will decrease the water table. And not just that, it will, because of the clearing of the forest, the water table gets decreased, and not just that, that decrease in water table in that particular area can also impact the neighboring areas. Therefore, the growth of the vegetation in that particular area will be into problem, or it will get retarded. And also the dumping of waste and all that near the mining site can also lead to the improper growth of the vegetation because of the soil pollution. Not just that, mining can also add a lot of pollutants to the air and the water that we have studied in particular under air and water. So this is how these pollutants can cause an impact on the ecology. And not just that, mining also degrades the aquatic flora and fauna. That is, it can degrade the growth of, or it can retard the growth of the plant and the animal species that are living in the water, because a large amount of polluted water will be let into the nearby streams, lakes, etc. So therefore, it will retard the growth, or it will minimize the, or it will cause an imbalance in the flora and fauna, that is the plant and the animal life in an aquatic ecosystem. So this is the impact of mining on ecology. Next is mining pollution. So mining creates a lot of pollution. So during the process of mining, there can be leakages. That is, a lot of toxic materials can leak, and that is called as mining tailings. So these mining tailings are nothing but the materials which are left behind after the economically valuable fraction of materials has been extracted. So during the process of extraction, apart from the metal that we need to extract, a lot of other things will be there. So those things are left behind in that particular site. So those are called as the mining tailings. So these mining tailings can also cause a lot of pollution. And tailings, these tailings that are left behind, or the waste materials after mining, whatever waste materials are there, those which are left behind, they'll contain a lot of heavy metals such as cyanide, mercury, arsenic, etc. that may leak into the environment and cause environmental pollution, therefore posing a threat to the different wildlife and the plant life that is growing there. And not just that, whenever there is a rain or something, they can just get washed their way into the nearby stream. And imagine if cyanide and all that enters into the water, it will destroy the entire plant and animal life in the water as well. And not just that, this arsenic is not good for human beings because it causes a lot of respiratory related disorders. Even mercury also can cause, say for example, the fish will consume mercury. Without knowing, human beings will hunt on that fish and they will cook it and eat it. So the mercury will enter into the body of the humans, causing a lot of problems in the human body. So that is about mining pollution. So this was about this session wherein we completely studied about deforestation, and mining was one of the major causes for deforestation. And therefore, if mining is done, what happens to the forest, what impacts it can have on the environment, we studied that by taking various subheadings such as impacts on air, impacts on water, impacts on the noise and all that. So with this, the session comes to an end. So in the coming session, let us study about what are the impacts of dam building on the forest and the tribal people. So along with that, we should also study about the impacts of the dam on the environment. So forest and tribal, they come hand in hand, because without the forest the tribal is not there. So therefore we'll study both of these together, and impacts of building dams on the environment, what impacts it will have, that we will study separately. So those two topics we shall finish off. So those two topics we shall study in the coming sessions. So we shall meet again in the coming sessions. Thank you.